Thanks for tuning into our YouTube channel. My name is Shadi Zayer, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing Identity Governance 3.6 release highlights. Now, the purpose of the release highlights videos are really to take the release notes and handpick some of the features that I feel like are really relevant to what I'm hearing out in the field from our customers, from our partners, and from internal folks as well. So I've handpicked a few, and I'll be covering them here in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've picked the top 5 features that I really feel like would resonate very well with our customers. So the first one being Identity Governance Limited. Now, I have a whole video around this called Getting Started with Governance, so we're not going to touch on it super in depth in this video. But what that's really all about is an opportunity for existing identity management customers to get IG up and running in their environment without having to pay for the full-blown license. Now, of course, that doesn't include every feature, but it is a great way to get started, get the business involved, begin collecting application data, identity data into the identity governance solution, curating it, cleaning it up. And then when you're ready to turn it on and really start doing things like the access reviews, like separation of duties, you already have the governance solution in place, and it's simply a rollover. You put in the new license or the full-blown license, and then you can get started utilizing the full-blown features. So a really neat re-architecture underneath the covers that allows us to operate identity governance kind of in those two modes, right, between limited and full-blown IG. So really, really cool there. The next excellent feature that we've released recently, and this came straight from the ideas portal. Now, I've heard a lot of asks about this from customers. I've been reached out from our partners, how they can do this type of implementation in the older versions of governance. So what engineering went ahead and did is take this idea out of the ideas portal and implemented it into the solution, and it's been really great. So, and what this really is an application collector enhancement where you can define multiple collectors per application. Now, this is really important for applications that have a hierarchical permission structure. I'll be showing you one here shortly. And the next enhancement is the custom attributes. So we could already do that in the past where, identity governance schema is very easy to manage, where you can create new attributes that match with the schema and downstream systems. The main enhancement here is that now you can define them on a per application basis and really specify where they belong. It's really useful when it comes to reporting and building out some of those reports for audit and things like that. So let me go ahead and switch over to the demo environment where I can show you a use case of the application collector enhancement that includes the multiple application piece. So in one of the recent engagements, we were engaged to do a POC for Epic's EHR permission model. And it's really been a huge success because in the past, bringing in their permission model would have involved some configuration or customization of the product, but now we can do it right out of the box. So really what I'm showing here is I'm in the data sources, application sources section of identity governance, and I've defined an application as Epic. And usually what you'd see here in the past is just a single collector. But what we're doing here instead is pulling in all of the accounts, the permission allocations, and then the hierarchical structure. So Epic has a structure of security classes that relate to security points, and there's about 4 or 5 different levels of permissions where we can really do the assignment from. So think of it as a tree structure where if you assign, the upmost node of the permissions, they gain everything below that. So in order for us to represent their security model within identity governance for things like access reviews, in this specific case, it was heavily used for separation of duties so that they can clean up the permission model on the Epic side. So for us to even get started using some of those features, we needed to bring that permission model into the solution. And due to this new hierarchy or the new multiple application feature, we were able to do that very successfully. So you can see here, right, I have 5 different collectors, and each one is configured a little bit differently. They map to the different attributes that we need. They include some of the custom attributes. That was another feature, again, that we brought in. So really, really excellent use case there. Now, the next point here is Governance Insights enhancement. So for those of you that don't know, Governance Insights is the all-new reporting feature within Identity Governance that allows you to create ad hoc reports. So a great step in the right direction from the identity reporting module. Really cool feature there. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So I already have a tab open here, but Insight or Governance Insights is available through the catalog, and then you can go down to Governance Insights here. But what the enhancement is we're able to cross-reference two different types of entities and then filter on that. So the two entities that I've cross-referenced are the permissions and the users here. So we're cross-referencing permissions against the users, and then I have a unique filter here to identify what permissions relate to an administrative level role, and I'm searching on a certain level. Again, applied linkable template is a hierarchy or a permission structure from Epic. So basically I'm searching for all applied linkable templates that have the word admin in them, and then I'm cross-referencing that against the users that have that permission. Now, when you go into columns, I've specified the different permission attributes that I want to pull into this. So really what you're doing here is building that ad hoc report, and it gets very easy to specify the types of information you want to include in the report. You know, in the past, an identity reporting module, it was a little more difficult to do that. So Governance Insights is a huge step in the right direction for enabling our customers to generate these types of reports. So in this video, I'm not going to be generating this report because some of this data has customer live data in it. So I'll be creating another video in the future where we'll be covering how we brought in the Epic permissions. And I think you're all going to love that because it's a use case we run into a lot, not just for Epic, but, you know, Active Directory has a hierarchy, nested groups and things like that, and many other applications do as well. So really cool stuff there. The next feature that we've implemented that I think is really cool is the enhanced download capabilities. So I already have this prepared here. Again, another tab here, the catalog. And I've searched in the identities catalog for a user named Katie French. Now, I only have a few attributes showing here, but if I were to go to this gear icon or the settings here, I can customize this view according to the attributes that I want to see. And we can specify any of these attributes. These are managed via the identity governance schema. You can specify what columns or what attributes are available to be managed in this catalog. So, you know, leaving it by default, you're granted or viewed these two attributes, but from there you can specify the different attributes you'd like to see. So the download capabilities really allow you to click now download all a CSV. So if I had multiple users here, if I'm searching on another search term, maybe it's the title or maybe it's a department, right? Kind of another way to generate a report, but a little bit lighter of a version. This is quick and easy. And when I click download all a CSV, we see here it's stored in our downloads. I've named it catalog users because that's the type of download that it is. And then we also have how long it's going to stay up there. So that what's really neat is that you download this and then you may not have time to download it now, or maybe you're just setting it up for a future date. It'll be held in this downloads area until, you know, in my case, for 2 days. So that's configurable. You can decide to download it from here or delete it. And really think of this as your download. It's kind of an extension of what we're all very familiar with in the default browser's capability. For example, Firefox has their own kind of downloads capability here, or downloads tracking. Now IG has its own downloads tracking as well. So when I open this, because I only had Katie French, her display name, and the title here, I open it up in Notepad and we see the name that's generated here. This is the timestamp, and we'll see Katie French, the title, and the name. If I specify any additional attributes, they would be here as well. And for the last feature that I think is really neat that customers can be taken advantage of is the database maintenance enhancements. So identity governance runs on a database backend. Out of the box, it's Postgres, but it's compatible with other database flavors. I've seen it run on Oracle, SQL, and others as well. So over time, when you do these collections, you run reviews, you define the separation of duties, all of those different things are stored in the database, in the identity governance database. And because we track all of the historical changes. So if a user gets access revoked in an access review and then it's sent to fulfillment and then something happens downstream, right? We track all of that historical information inside of our database. So of course, over time, the database grows in size. Now, you can really manage the database, and what this is really focused on is the ability to archive the database data set. So offloading those tables, storing it in another database that you've specified that don't need the indexing and things like that, like the identity governance one would. And the main benefit of doing this is that over time, as the database grows in size, you may run into some performance decreases, over a long period of time. So if you have years and years of identity governance related events stored in your IG database, we've seen with some large customers where performance takes a hit. So that we really don't see that in a lot of customers. But what's really great about this is that now you can schedule automated archiving, cleanup, error cleanup. If a collection fails for whatever reason, right, that's tracked in the database. Really what this allows you to do is do that cleanup and offload that. So that way you're basically doing health checks, ensuring that the database is running in an utmost shape, right? And then of course archiving the events into another database that you've created just for archiving. So these are the top 5 features that I think that we've introduced in Identity Governance 3.6. It resonates with what I'm seeing with a lot of customers in the field. I deliver a lot of roadmaps. We talk strategy. We get back into the existing customers. And these 5 different features have really, really drawn a lot of attention to them, and customers are getting very excited about them. So I hope that this video shed light on a few features that we've brought into the product today, and hopefully in showing some of them in the product, you've seen how you can get started, or maybe you're thinking about some business use cases that you can start utilizing those different things on. So if you'd like an additional demo or you want to do a deeper dive on this, please feel free to reach out to me or your sales rep. I have documentation links in the description below, as well as additional contact information and relevant info as well. So again, there's another video, getting started with governance. We cover some of those different features and things like that in that one as well. So if you'd like to give that a watch, please do. And remember, please like and subscribe. We'll be putting out these types of videos every product release in order to increase awareness around what we're doing and get the customers and in general, everybody excited about what we're doing as Micro Focus. Thanks so much.